So today we will discuss about first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So before we start scheduling algorithm, we should understand what is this scheduling algorithm and why does the operating system need scheduling algorithm. So generally in a system or in a particular point of time in the system, there can be several processes. This can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 100. So there can be n number of processes in the system at a particular point of time. So the operating system has to decide that which of these process will be given the CPU time and when they should be given the CPU time. So a simplest algorithm for this is first come first serve algorithm. So the process which arrives first will be given the CPU time first. The process which arrives second will be given after that, or the second in the list, or the third process will be given third in that order. So this is the first algorithm that will be used by the operating system to decide the order of execution of the process when they arrives in the system. So let us look at how this particular scheduling algorithm work. So the key point is that the job that arrives first is scheduled first. So we can say job or process, it's same. It is non-preemptive algorithm. That means the process are cooperating. When I say cooperating, I mean that when one process is using the CPU or is executing, the other process will wait for their chance. They will not interrupt the process which is currently being executed in the CPU. So that is how we say this is non-preemptive or cooperating. Suppose there is a process P1 and P2. When P1 is executing in the CPU, P2 will wait for P1 to complete its execution. So that is why we say it is cooperating. It is implemented using a queue. So let us look at one example. So if we look at this particular example, we have three processes P1, P2, P3 and their burst time, or we call as this the time they needs for completing their execution. So P1 needs 23 clock cycles, P2 needs 2 clock cycle and P3 needs 5. So this needs to be implemented using first come first serve algorithm. So because P1 is the first process, we will be putting that in a Gantt chart. So Gantt chart is the representation of the order of execution of the processes. So the first process P1 will be executed for 0 to 23. That is, P1 is executed starting from the clock cycle 0 till the clock cycle 23, because it needs 23 clock cycles to complete its execution. After that P2 needs 2 clock cycles to complete its execution. So 23 to 24 and 24 to 25. So 2 clock cycles for P2. And finally we have P3, which needs 5 clock cycles to complete its execution. That is from 25 to 26, 26 to 27, 27 to 28, 28 to 29 and 29 to 30. Now if you notice, I have mentioned here that this is non-preemptive. That means when P1 is executing, P2 and P3 are not disturbing it. That is, they are not interrupting the execution of P1. That is why it is called non-preemptive or cooperating. The waiting time of each of the process. So if we look at P1 arrived in the system and it is not waiting. Immediately it is assigned the CPU. So P1 is not waiting. So that is why the waiting time for P1 is 0. For P2 is waiting for P1 to complete its execution. So P2 is waiting for P1 to complete its execution. So P1 needs 23 clock cycles. So the waiting time for P2 will be 23. That is why this is 23. Similarly for P3 will wait for P1 to complete, which is 23 clock cycles, and P3 will also wait for P2 to complete, which is 2 clock cycles. So the waiting time for P3 is 25. So this is the waiting time. Now if we have to calculate, we will calculate the average waiting time, which is 0 plus 23 plus 25 divided by 3, because 3 is the number of process. So we get 16. So each process is waiting for approximately on an average waiting of 16 clock cycles. Now let us look at turnaround time. Now what is this turnaround time? It is waiting time plus CPU time, or the execution time, the time to execute. So it is already given. So waiting time we have already calculated 0 for P1, and it needs 23 clock cycles to complete its execution. So 0 plus 23. For the second process, the waiting time is 23. So this is this 23, and it needs 2 clock cycle to complete its execution. So 23 plus 2 is 25. The third process P3 needs 25 clock cycle. The waiting time is 25. So this 25, and it needs 5 clock cycle to complete its execution. So that is how we sum them up and divide it by 3, because the number of processes is 3, and we get 26. So this is turnaround time. Remember, waiting time is how much each process has to wait, and turnaround time is the waiting time plus burst time. Waiting time plus the burst time, which is also called the time to execute the process. Now let us look at one more example which involves arrival time. So in this example, if you see, there is arrival time in addition to burst time. So if we see, at time 0 P4 arrives, at time 1 P3 arrives, at time 2 P1 arrives, at time 4 P5 arrives, and at time 5 P2 arrives. So they will be executed in this order: 0, then 1, then 2, then 4, then 5. So let us see how they will be represented in Gantt chart. So it is implemented using a queue. So at time 0 we have this process P4. So let us put the process P4 in the queue. Now P4 will start the execution. So we'll put it in the Gantt chart. Now in the clock cycle 1 we have P3. So P3 will be put it in the queue. So P3 will be put in the queue. Now in the clock cycle 2 we have P1. If you see, P1 arrival time is 2. So clock cycle 2 P1. In clock cycle 3, if you see, there is no process that is arriving. 0, 1, 2 is there. After that 4, no 3. Now what happens at clock cycle 3? If you see, P4 which was executing needed 3 clock cycles to complete. So it has completed its execution. Now once 3 has completed its execution, now we have to see from the queue which one to be moved. That is, which one should be moved to the CPU for execution. So in the queue, P3 is the next process. So P3 will be put in the queue. Now this is non-preemptive. So when a process is executing, it will be executed till its completion. Now we have P3 which needs 8 clock cycle. But in the meantime, we are in clock cycle 3. So in the meantime, clock cycle 4 we have P5. So P5 is put in the queue. Then in clock cycle 5 we have P2. If you see, we have P2. So P2 is also put in the queue. Now clock cycle 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Because P3 needed 8 clock cycles to complete. So after 3, 8 plus 3 is 11. So at clock cycle 11, P3 will complete its execution. So that is why P3 has completed its execution from 3 to 11. That is the 8 clock cycle, this 8. Now in the queue, we have the next process as P1. So P1 will be moved in. Now P1, how many clock cycle it needs? If you see, for P1 it needs 6 clock cycles. So from 11 till 6. So we have seen 11 till 6 is 17. So P1 will be executed for 6 clock cycles. Now we have P5. So P5, how many clock cycles it need? P5 needs 4 clock cycles. So 17 plus 4 is 21. So P5 is executed for 4 clock cycles. 17 plus 4, 21. Next we have P2. So P2 will be executed for 2 clock cycles. So 21 plus 2 is 23. So this is how the first come first serve scheduling algorithm is executed for arrival time, based on the arrival time. The process which comes first will be executed first, like P4 0, then your P3, then P1, then P5, and finally P2. So we have to see the arrival time, and accordingly they will be executed. Now let us calculate waiting time and turnaround time for each of these processes. Now in the previous case there was no arrival time, so the calculation was easy. Now in this case the arrival time is available, so the calculation will be slight difference. So the waiting time now will be the start time minus arrival time. So let us look at the first process. So first process is P4. So P4, if you see, the arrival time for P4 is 0. Arrival time is 0. And start time is also 0. So for P4, arrival time is 0 and start time is also 0, because this is the first process. So the waiting time is 0. Now for P3, if we see, P3 start time is 3. P3 started after P4 completes its execution. So P3, the starting time is 3. So starting time is 3, and arrival time is, from the table we see that arrival time is 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Similarly for process P1, we have start time at 11 and arrival time at 2. So 11 minus 2, 9. Similarly for P5, we have 17 minus 4, and for P2 we have 21. The arrival time is 21 minus 5, arrival time 5. So now we add them all, 0 plus 2 plus 9 plus 13 plus 16, and divided by 5, because number of processes is 5, and we get the average waiting time as 8 clock cycles. So you can try this example to calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time for this particular example.